Hello and welcome back to World Talks, where every word matters. I'm Anna Kalczyńska. Good evening. Fast peace may not be as easily cooked as it had seemed. President-elect Donald Trump's envoy to Ukraine was to pay a fact-finding trip to Kyiv, but had it postponed until after Trump's January 20th inauguration. Retired Lieutenant General Keith Kellogg, who is expected to serve as Trump's special envoy to Ukraine and Russia, initially planned a mission to Kyiv to meet with Ukrainian leaders in early January. What's the reason behind this delay? We'll discuss about it. I'm joined now by Rostyslav Khotin, senior editor, Radio Free Europe, Radio Liberty Ukrainian Service, and I'm joined from Prague. Hello, sir. Good to have you.
Hello, Anna.
So it was not immediately clear why Keith Kellogg is delaying the trip. We still don't know this explanation. What are the suspicions in Kyiv?
He was expected in early January. It has been announced before, and he was expected to visit Kyiv and several other European capitals in early January. Not Moscow, though, just Kyiv, plus at least two capitals were mentioned, Paris and Rome. But on such trip, he possibly can't also ignore Berlin, London, and Warsaw. So there will be kind of a European leg and plus Kyiv, not Moscow though. But it has been delayed until inauguration of President-elect of the United States, Donald Trump. We don't know. We can only speculate whether there is a kind of feeling of urgency for peace push from Donald Trump, and it wasn't kind of over expectation probably that he would bring peace before inauguration within 24 hours, as he promised during electoral campaign in the United States. But another reason also was mentioned that there is a such thing as in the United States as a Logan Act from 1799, which bars the U.S. citizens, U.S. officials, to hold talks with foreign powers, which are of security concerns and security importance, and which are significant for the U.S. national interests on behalf of the United States with foreign powers, if they are not have a mandate and are not certified to do this. So his visit to Kyiv would have been kind of in violation of this 1799 Logan Act of the United States. So it has been decided to delay this trip until the inauguration of the 47th President of the United States, Donald Trump.
Well, Keith Kellogg, 80, retired lieutenant, as I said, was regarded as a hawkish nominee by Donald Trump, and he seemed to be able to adopt a tougher stance on Russia, right? So does Kyiv perceive Keith Kellogg as some sort of a Richard Holbrooke who in Bosnia was able to bring peace?
Kyiv welcomed the nomination of General Keith Kellogg as a special envoy on Ukraine and Russia. We know that he has some kind of vision, at least it was defined in his interviews and publications about how he sees the future peace deal for Ukraine. For instance, he wants to create, he wants a quick ceasefire. He wants to create a demilitarized zone along the line of contact. He also wants Kyiv to regain territories by diplomatic means, not by force, by diplomatic means. He also wants to link military aid for Ukraine and for Ukraine with progress on the peace talks. He wants this military aid to be not as an aid as per se, but as a loans. He also wants to arm Ukraine as much as needed, so that Kyiv is able to defend itself in the future. And he sees NATO membership for Ukraine as a distant future, not immediate prospect. Also, he on on sanctions and Russia, he thinks that such anti-Russian sanctions could be eased if Russia is honest peace negotiator, and sanctions could be softened if Russia agrees to peace deal, and no sanctions. He also sees no sanctions, future with no sanctions, only if such peace deal will be favorable just for Ukraine and acceptable by Ukrainians. So that's his vision for peace deal in Ukraine in the future. And also, recently I've noticed that he put a tweet or post in the X net social media. He condemned Russia strongly for the rocket missile strike and drone strike on Christmas Day against Ukraine. He condemns in strong terms this Russian strike on a peace day on the day of birth of the Lord, as he put it. So he is kind of slightly hawkish as a former U.S. general, and his appointment was welcomed by Ukraine. And today, Ukrainian Foreign Minister Andriy Sybiha said that they are in constant contact with Keith Kellogg team about his future trip to Ukraine and Europe, and that this visit will happen, as Ukrainian Foreign Minister put it, in a due course. So Ukraine expects his visit, but after the inauguration of Donald Trump.
Thank you very much for this quote. This is still a good information, a new information, but we are still left with speculations as to is it good or bad news after all, just to postpone such a visit. So don't you worry that the postponement of Trump's Ukraine envoy's trip to Kyiv could mean that the war in Ukraine is not that important anymore for the Donald Trump administration, or perceived as a problem to be solved in a longer term, since President Trump has said that it may not be that easy to solve this problem, at least not within 48 hours?
It's also an indicator that the peace deal, the peace in Ukraine, is not as easy to achieve as it has been hoped by the U.S. officials and by Donald Trump himself. It's not that easy, and the main problem is Russia. It's still there are possibly there are some kind of contacts from Donald Trump teams with Russians. What kind of peace deals they will accept, what kind of they are trying to get indication what is mood in Russia. Are they serious about peace when Putin says that they are ready, or are they not? What kind of peace deal? Because Ukraine doesn't want any peace at any price. Ukraine wants this peace to be long-lasting, stable, and fair, just peace for Ukraine, not just any peace, not just simple ceasefire, but long-term peace with U.S. security guarantees. That's the Ukrainian approach, and the signals have been sent from Kyiv to Donald Trump's team that this peace deal should be fair for Ukraine and should be long-lasting. And if NATO membership is not achievable very soon, in the immediate future, then there should be U.S. security guarantees and Western security guarantees, significant security guarantees for Ukraine.
Right. So I understand this approach you've been trying to clarify, but does this approach include also Ukraine being ready to make territorial concessions? We understand that the American plans have to include that.
There is understanding in Ukraine now that restoration of full territorial integrity, the full sovereignty, territorial integrity and sovereignty in 1991 borders, when Ukraine got independence from the Soviet Union, is not achievable very soon. That at least Crimea, maybe some parts, small parts of eastern Ukraine, Donbass, we will see how it goes, will be not achieved immediately. But the rest is up for grab, both militarily and with U.S. aid, and of course diplomatically. And Keith Kellogg, General Kellogg, wants Ukraine to regain territorial integrity by diplomatic means, not by force. But at the same time, he wants to strengthen Ukraine as much as possible that Ukrainians have deterrence, military deterrence against any future advances by Russia.
Thank you very much, Rostyslav Khotin. This is very interesting, everything that you were able to clarify to us. Thank you so much for all this information. So the special envoy's visit to Kyiv is going to happen in due course, as we hear. And so far, it's been postponed until after Donald Trump's January 20th inauguration. Thank you so much once again. And thank you for watching this edition of World Talks. Please stay with us, and we are coming up very soon.